Pilipinas. I don't know.
Well, I think we're going through a period of transition because after Duterte, Philippines will never be the same. Let's just be honest about it. Ang dami mga tabu na broke. Ang dami mga institutional mga presuppositions that completely destroyed yung ginawa sa Supreme Court Justice, minumura yung senador. So, let's just be honest. We're tiptoeing our way out of the ashes of the Duterte era. So, in that period of transition, uncertainty and mistrust is the name of the game. And the reality is that, kung titignan mo, had Duterte been half as sharp as he was in 2015, actually, he could have engineered a succession for either Bongo or Sara. But because he wavered between the two, Marcos came and just ate their lunch and their lunchbox. Because if you look at Marcos Jr., sorry to my kababayan ni Locos, he was actually just number 3. He was behind even Isko Moreno in some of the surveys. Pero dahil sa wishy-washiness and indecision of Duterte, Marcos has come in. So it was always a reluctant tactical alliance from the very beginning. And ito yung sinasabi ni Digong na gumagamit ng he was saying that in 2021 and 2022. So why are we shocked he's doing that now? He has even more reasons to do that. So it was a divorce waiting to happen. Alam mo yung joke na para kang future ex-husband or ex-wife ko. Yung ganon. It was always like that. You know this was a divorce to happen. And it was a matter of time magkakaroon ng Mexican standoff tong mga dalawang to. But I think Sara Duterte getting out of the cabinet was because she realized she was the boiling frog.
Tama.
Because at the end of the day, while the Dutertes were once upon a time the most popular, the most powerful, whatever, medyo nag-move on ng taong bayan, di ba? And Marcos Jr. now has all the levers of power. The administration has the resources. So they're going to be very strong coming to the midterm elections. And Marcos has international support. Ironically, from Democrats, from Labour government of Australia, because of the China issue, obviously. So, gets ni Sara na the more she stays there, the more she's going to get bogged down in margin. So she rather left on her own terms, or at least that's her hope. Now,
kaysa makick out pa siya doon or some
But if you look at it, and some of our colleagues here actually got it right, if you look at it, Marcos Jr.'s power is that he's always underestimated. Parating sinasabi na, si Marcos, hindi mo naman
Tama. Yeah.
And that worked to his advantage.
Yeah.
The first moment na he showed this very astute was when hindi niya binigay yung defense secretary position kay Sara.
Yeah.
Doon pa lang naalaman, nag-flex na siya. No, sorry, tapos na election. Ako ng presidente ngayon. And then si Arroy didn't become the Speaker of the House. That was already Act 1. I mean, if this were a Shakespearean play, yun na yung Act 1. So it was just a matter of time. And then sa first sona niya, he didn't mention federalism, he didn't mention the drug war, nagalit si Kibuloy sa SMNI. Tapos yung mga loyalist na pro-Marcos, nag-resign pa si Abe, for instance, nag-resign siya dun sa SMNI. So already in the first month or two of Marcos, we saw the seeds of what was about to come. The only question would be, what would be the terms of divorce? Ugly divorce? Civil war mode divorce? Or kind of a slow-motion train wreck divorce?
You think it's gonna be mentioned sa upcoming SONA or
well,
tingin mo merong hints, subtle hints na parang we're moving towards one direction?
Marcos is gonna say the usual, no, we're still intact and blah, blah, blah. But he's gonna say also things that says...
But with the resignation of Sara, parang mahirap ng panindigan,
the pretend. No, because the game plan of Marcos is to say, hindi ako may kasalanan, siya umalis. I'm the nice guy.
Okay.
I'm the professional. So he's pushing the burden of proof to the Duterte side. But really, things to watch out are after SONA. Will the ICC issue the warrant of arrest?
Yun pa. Oh my God.
Ano yan? Medyo Game of Thrones mini-civil war. Dragon's War na yan, di ba? Although I think Marcos has more dragons this time.
Yes.
Kumukonting dragon ng kabila. And then, of course, yung investigations about West Philippine Sea, yung mga gentleman's agreement.
Tama.
That could also evolve into something interesting and all. So, that's why, desperado mga Dutertes when they say, tatlong ipapatakbo namin. Whether they do it or not, that just shows they're so desperate. Kasi, nauubusan na sila. For sure, wala sila sa Congress masyado. For sure, sa LGU level, wala wipe out yan.
The pogo stuff
pa,
no?
The pogo stuff that could come back to bite them. Maybe si Harry Roque also. Nasapi na si assistant, di ba?
Oo nga. Nandun yung papeles nandun daw nilagay sa
radio. But why?
Parang inisip ko parang...
But why?
Ano ba yan? May nag-plant ba nun?
It's just so... Kaya minsan feeling...
Why is it there?
With the whole these Duterte people, what they call them people, di ba? Like, they're just so reckless sometimes. So you feel may pagka-hubris talaga itong mga to. So actually, BBM, if he just ups his courage level and risk appetite a bit more, pwede ipitin itong mga to on many fronts
But I think they're going slow in painful for the
Yeah,
other side,
I think
guess.
slow burn yung last. But the last thing I want to say here is, what about the genuine opposition? Rizzo Ontiveros and those kinds of people. I think the challenge for them is, pipiliin nila, are they more never Duterte or never Marcos?
Ang hirap, no?
Ang hirap
How can you
talaga.
it's like a three-way split now.
Yeah.
Parang ganun. Kung sa wrestling, triple threat match na to.
Ay, alam mo na. Exactly.
And tawag doon, they should be trying to get more people in sa next election sa Senate. Because I think ang opposition, true opposition, I don't know what it's called anymore.
Genuine opposition. let's just
Genuine
call it,
opposition is like what, 2-3 people there?
Baka 4 if
Baka
Franz
4.
Castro, and then if Leila de Lima comes in eventually, maybe 5 or something like that. So ang challenge sa kanila is, are they gonna join the admin slate, make a counter slate with independents like Tito Soto?
Yeah.
Obviously malabo with the Duterte. So I think the suggestion of some people is, mas threat ang Dutertes kaysa mga Marcoses.
Yeah.
I mean, this Marcos, not the previous Marcos. So, baka mas attack muna kayo kay Duterte kaysa kay Marcos. But ang challenge naman dyan is if the Dutertes are somehow eliminated from the race, which is far from given, baka naman magkaroon ng, speaking of constitutional change, baka dyan babalik yung temptation. Because we may not have seen the final version of BBM yet.
Yes,
you know, he's a very multi-layered...
Baka lying in...
He is very sophisticated. Yeah. So actually, yun yung challenge ng opposition. If you're opposition, you're wondering, if you help them to bring down this house, baka ikaw yung susunod. Or you kind of sit it out, and then game plan mo is 2028.
Tama.
Because last point, Red, if you want to have some hope for the opposition, assuming yun yung predilection mo, if you're a loyalist, then okay, wala na tayong problema. Maharlika, golden age na tayo. Is usually voters after 2 terms of any leader, even the most popular like India's Modi, they're much more open to go back to yung mga past. Parang kunyari, nag-break up ka sa jowa mo, kahit sobrang pangit yung breakup mo, nainis sa kanya. Medyo after mga dalawa pang jowa, medyo
na-realize mo na okay pala yun, ganun.
May pagkaganon may pagkaganon.
Even if it's like dictatorship, ganong klaseng...
No. I think in terms of, there's a time for the genuine opposition to come back fresh, right? And say, eto na. Gusto niyan Duterte, Marcos, makana niya yung bigas.
Tama.
Tapos na ba yung krimen? Saan yung 6 months? Maybe now you want to listen to us who we're explaining to you. But what I want to also lastly say on this point is, kailangan din magkaroon ng mea culpa ang genuine opposition. Because, Red, let's be honest, for everything we can say about Duterte or Marcos, those people would not have come back to power kung hindi nagkakulang din yung mga reformist leaders, yung mga liberals and all of that. So, I think 2025 is a chance for them to reconnect with the people by admitting some of their shortcomings and listening to the people talaga.
It's hard for genuine opposition o yung liberal side ng politics to come back because parang sobrang branded na sila sa elitista Philippines na sila Parang ganun yung dating I don't know, like parang ako thinking about it, parang how do you even come back from that, diba? You've been branded via whether misinformation or propaganda or whatever. Parang ang hirap nang to reform yung Well, I guess ito nga, what you're saying, Godzilla versus King Kong ngayon, then baka the genuine opposition might,
Dogecoin ba? Yung mga memes na si Dogecoin.
Dogecoin ka.
Ganun kay Godzilla. Parang ganun.
Mismo. Sana nga, sana if we're rounding out the